afternoon to you. We are tracking breaking news out of El Paso, Texas right now, a developing situation where multiple sources tell us a massive group of around 1,000 migrants have rushed the border there and tried to get into the United States via the port of entry. Take a look at this video just into Fox News, given to us exclusively by our contact on the ground who was with these migrants as they rushed the border on the Mexican side from Ciudad Juarez and ran onto the Paso del Norte bridge in El Paso and started running towards the United States in an effort to get into the U.S. This was families. This was a mixture of single adults. We're told these are predominantly Venezuelan migrants, several hundred of them you can see running towards the U.S. They are eventually met by CBP in the middle of the bridge where they were blocked, barbed wire set up, gate closed, CBP officers responding en masse. Federal sources telling me a CBP special response team responded to that bridge in an effort to block those migrants from crossing over. You'll see some of them gathering there kind of in a standoff with those CBP officers. We're told at some point crowd control measures were used. We don't know what that means exactly, but eventually a large amount of that group was repelled and turned away from that port of entry, which you will see in the video, some of them starting to run away from the bridge. But that breaking news out of El Paso this afternoon, that massive group blocked by CBP for the most part at the Paso del Norte port of entry. We're told the Mexican military is now on the other side trying to get things under control on the Mexican side of the border. Other news we are tracking, a tragedy in San Diego. Take a look at this video. We are told at least 8 people are dead after a suspected human smuggling event off the coast of San Diego. 2 boats crashed, one of them capsizing in the overnight hours. Those boats loaded up with what we're told are illegal immigrants, potentially from Mexico. As of now, the body count is 8 people dead, though there are still 7 people missing, and law enforcement says they had an issue this morning trying to find the rest of the people missing because of heavy fog. They weren't able to get their helicopters up in the air. That search is now resumed, but take a listen to what law enforcement out there is saying about the loss of life associated with this smuggling incident.
There are a lot of people that are no longer with us.
There are. When we're continuing to search the water, we'll be here all through the day. Today also, we have a debris field of good 800 yards down here on Blacks Beach, and like I said, with the conditions behind us right now, it's a large effort with a large amount of personnel here to ensure everybody's safety.
And then the third story we are tracking tonight, 3 women still missing in Mexico. 2 Texas sisters and their friend, again, 47-year-old Maritza Perez Rios, 48-year-old Marina Perez Rios, and then 53-year-old Dora Saenz, their friend. They crossed into Mexico on February 24th, more than 2 weeks ago. They crossed here in the RGV. We're going to Montemorelos to sell clothing at a flea market. Their families have not heard from them since. They fear they have been kidnapped somewhere in Mexico. The FBI now involved and investigating. And back out here live, a lot of stories happening on our southern border today, Mike. Going back to that breaking news, we are told the situation is starting to get under control in El Paso, that a large majority of that group has been repelled from the U.S. border. CBP officers there en masse. I'm told Border Patrol agents are showing up en masse as well. But it just goes to show you how quickly something like this can happen. It's unclear what the catalyst was for this large group to try to rush this port of entry there, but you can see how many people gave it a shot, and CBP had to call in a lot of resources, close that gate, get that barbed wire up, and we are told crowd control measures were used. I reached out to CBP about an hour ago to get a statement or a comment from them to find out exactly what happened here. They told me they are working on my request and will get back to me as soon as possible. As soon as I do hear back from CBP, we'll of course let our viewers know. Mike, we'll send it back to you.
Bill, when I see such a large crowd rushing that bridge, it makes me wonder, was anybody injured of the brave men and women who responded to hold the line there?
We don't know. We don't have any intel from our contacts on the ground that anybody on the U.S. side was hurt. It doesn't appear that anybody was climbing over the fence or was able to physically get in touch with one of the CBP agents. It looked like they kind of made a line behind that fence, used the barbed wire, used the gate. We are not hearing of any injuries at this point. However, it is obviously a developing situation, and more information is going to come out from the federal government at some point this afternoon. Hopefully we'll get some more answers on that, Mike.
Bill Illusion live in Mission, Texas. Bill, many thanks.